What if I told you that at the exact moment the nails pierced Jesus' hands, heaven was not the only place that reacted? What if, beyond the dust of the cross, in a realm no human eye could see, two of the most powerful angels ever created stood in position, watching, guarding, waiting? Michael, the warrior of heaven; Uriel, the flame of divine revelation. And between them, suspended between earth and eternity, the crucified Son. You've heard the story of the crucifixion before. The wood, the nails, the soldiers, the crowd, the final cry. But this time, we're not looking at history. We're stepping into the mystery. Because what happened that day was not only visible on earth, it was unfolding in the unseen. At noon, the sky went dark. Not a passing cloud, not a natural eclipse. This was a supernatural silence. The sun didn't hide. It was silenced because something was happening beyond the veil, in a dimension where light and darkness are not just elements, but powers. And in that realm, heaven held its breath. The oldest battle of all was reaching its final moment. And yes, Lucifer was there, watching, waiting. From the perspective of hell, everything seemed to be going according to plan. The Son of God, hanging, bleeding, silent. No resistance, no miracle, no fire from heaven, just silence. But that silence was not weakness, it was strategy, because real power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it waits. And then, in the realm of the Spirit, two presences took position, not messengers, not ordinary angels, guardians, one on the right, one on the left. Michael, burning with ancient fire, his sword vibrating with the authority of God. Uriel, radiating like a white sun, eyes filled with revelation. They did not descend to fight. They did not raise their voices. They stood still, watching the king, because they knew what looked like defeat was actually fulfillment. What looked like chaos was divine order. And then something shifted. The forces of darkness began to pull back, not because they were defeated, but because they were confused, because the one on the cross was not resisting, but he was not losing either. He was allowing. And that was the most terrifying thing of all. Then it happened. Jesus cried out, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." Not a cry of defeat, a signal, a command, a word that pierced dimensions. Michael understood immediately. He didn't move, but his entire being tightened like a restrained lion. Uriel's light intensified, like an ancient prophecy was being activated, because that cry was not from a dying man. It was from a king, still in control. And what he commanded was not vengeance. It was protection. Guard what is mine. Because in that moment, something deeper was happening. A transaction, not symbolic, real. Jesus was taking upon himself the sin of humanity, the righteous for the unrighteous, purity embracing corruption, the Lamb becoming the substitute. Michael was not there to attack. He was there to guard, to ensure that nothing, no demon, no accusation, could interrupt what was being sealed. Because this was not just suffering. This was a covenant, signed in blood, and heaven was defending it. Uriel had his role too. He was guarding the meaning of the sacrifice, because what Jesus was doing was revealing a mystery hidden since the foundation of the world, a mystery prophets longed to understand, a mystery angels longed to see. And in that moment, it began to unfold. As the blood touched the ground, a light was released, not visible to the world, but traveling through time, a fire that would reach generations, that would awaken souls, inspire the Gospels, open blind eyes. And its message was simple. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Then came the final words. It is finished. And with that, everything changed. The veil was torn. The separation ended. Jesus gave up his spirit, and the earth shook. But what happened next was even deeper, because Jesus didn't disappear. He descended into Sheol, the realm of the dead, not as a victim, but as a king. No shouting, no struggle, just presence. And the kingdom of darkness trembled, because never before had pure holiness entered that place, not carrying his own sin, but the sin of the world. There, the waiting souls saw him. Abraham, David, the prophets, the promise, standing before them. And Jesus spoke, not many words, just authority. It's time. And chains broke, not by force, but by decree, because the victory had already been won. Michael stood as witness, declaring it legal. Uriel revealed the truth. declaring it fulfilled. And in that moment, death lost its power. When Jesus rose 3 days later, it wasn't the beginning of victory. It was the manifestation of a victory already secured in the unseen. Because resurrection didn't start in the light, it started in the darkness. And if he conquered death from the inside, what can he do in your story? So now the question is not about what happened then. The question is about you. When everything feels silent, when heaven seems quiet, will you still believe? Because sometimes faith is not loud. Sometimes it's simply staying, trusting, and saying yes again and again.